in color, the continuing story of Peyton Place. Starring Dorothy Malone as Constance Mackenzie, Ed Nelson as Michael Rossi, Ryan O'Neill as Rodney Harrington, Barbara Parkins as Betty Anderson, Tim O'Connor as Elliot Carson, Christopher Connolly as Norman Harrington, Patricia Morrow as Rita Harrington, James Douglas as Stephen Cord.
Last night, Elliot Carson witnessed a clandestine meeting between Eddie Jacks and Leslie Harrington. But he's determined to find out what Jacks and Harrington have in common, and whether that bond has anything to do with the late Jack Chandler. Intent on following this lead, he's unaware that others are equally involved in their own problems. Stephen Cord, for one, is fighting to hold his marriage together.
Excuse me.
Yes, Mr. Cord.
Did you ring my wife's room and tell her I'm on my way up?
Mr. Cord. Mrs. Cord checked out, sir.
When?
Last night, early in the evening.
Well, did she say where she was going?
No, sir.
Did she leave any message?
No, not a thing. Sir, I think she's going to the airport. Mr. Peyton's chauffeur, he called for her.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, hello, Ada.
What's the bad news?
What's the bad news? What do you mean?
Eddie, what's he up to? Oh, you rushed out of the bar last night as soon as he left. I know you followed him, and I want to know what's going on.
Oh, Ada, if I thought it was anything for you to worry about, I'd have told you.
Don't second guess me.
There's nothing to tell, Ada.
Then why'd you follow him? Elliot, when that worm came back, you were the only guy in town who tried to find a job for him. And when I came in here telling you Eddie was bad news, you defended him. You told me you understood the problems of an ex-con, and it was you who told me to give him a job.
Well, you said you were worried about him. I thought it was a good way to keep an eye on him.
You're not leveling with me, and you know it.
Ada, listen, trust me. You've got nothing to worry about.
Okay, forget about me. But how about Rita? Now, whatever's going on is going to hurt her, and you know it. She's already getting involved with Eddie and liking it. You know she can't afford to be upset.
Look, Ada, it was really nothing at all. I followed Eddie out of the bar, and Harrington was waiting for him in the rear. Then he got into the car, and they both drove off together. And that's all there was to it.
Well, I'm going to get rid of him. I'm not going to let him foul up Rita's life again.
You can't force him to leave town, you know.
I can see that he gets caught keeping the bar open after hours. I'll accuse him of stealing, anything.
Come on. You'll only make a fool out of yourself. Eddie and Harrington haven't done anything yet.
They've had dealings before. You know it, and I know it. And if I didn't know that Jack Chandler was dead, I'd think he was in it with them, too. Look, I don't have to have the roof fall in to know there's going to be trouble.
Wait a minute. Chandler, I wonder if that's why Eddie came back into town when he did.
What do you mean?
See, Harrington told the police that the gun that Chandler used to escape with was stolen from the Peyton mill. I think Harrington smuggled that gun into Chandler. Now, if Chandler told that news to his old buddy, Eddie, to a guy like Eddie, that's like the key to the city. Or the key to Harrington, anyway.
I don't care why he came back. I'm going to get him out of town. I don't care how I do it.
Ada, right now, let's let everything alone for a while.
You're still trying to get Harrington's head, aren't you? You're going to get even with him one way or another.
No, Ada, that's buried.
You'll never convince me of that, Elliot. You spent too many good years of your life in jail because of him. Look, I've got to protect Rita. You're going to have to find some other way to make Harrington pay for what he did.
Ada, listen to me. If I'm right, Eddie and Harrington both will be put away for a long, long time. Ada, listen. You're making a mistake.
It's my daughter's life.
took it away from him at 8 months, and that was that.
Oh, Michael, where have you been? I wanted to invite you to dinner last night.
Sorry. I spent the night in Boston. Hello. Huh. Can I talk to you?
Anything else I can get you?
Oh, no, not today, Connie. You know, you're just a little sweetie pie, you know that? A real little Dickens. Hasn't she done a wonderful job with our Matthew, Doctor? He's the picture of health.
Oh, I'll put it on your bill.
Oh, thank you, Connie. Fine. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Miss Lily.
You just keep up the good work, Constance. Oh, and let Matthew have his bottle as long as he wants it.
She's very upset because her daughter-in-law doesn't believe babies should have bottles after 8 months.
I thought for a minute she was going to ask my opinion. Connie, listen about Rachel.
She's coming along all right?
Fine, just fine. For the first time since she entered the clinic, she's showing a definite improvement.
Oh, I'm glad, Mike. It's been awfully rough on you, I know.
Her psychiatrist called me yesterday. I was scared stiff. I know you think being a doctor and all that, I'd have more professional, what do they call it, cool or something. But anyway, the news is good, and there's a big improvement, and the consensus of opinion was that it would be a good time for me to go down and visit her. Connie, you wouldn't believe it. The difference is like night and day. She's Rachel again.
Did she, ask about us?
Yes, mostly about Sir Matthew over there.
Did she refer to him as her baby brother?
No, Connie. She's not living in this fantasy world anymore. And that's why this is such a critical time for her. She's facing reality again. She's facing what's happened to her. Well, I don't know. I thought I could handle it myself, but I...
Mike. No.
You want to step up on me again?
Can't go down there. Can't go see Rachel. I have a family to think of, to protect. No, that's not really it. It's just when I cleaned out Rachel's room, I wanted her gone. I wanted everything about her gone.
I know. You opened up the window and you let the air in. But the doctors down there say if you could just come to the sanitarium and stay somewhere nearby for just a couple of days, it would do her so much good.
What do you think I'm made of? Iron? Every time I reach my hand out to help somebody, I get hurt. From now on, I'm going to revert to that very special mother's privilege of being very selfish. From now on, I'm going to think of him. Number one. Besides, if I went down there, I'd end up needing a psychiatrist.
I know I don't have much of a perspective on this, Connie.
How long does the doctor think I should stay? How long, Mike?
Connie.
You know what? I'm going to start next week being very selfish. This week, I'm going to go down and see Rachel. If Elliot will let me.
Call me here. Call me as soon as you know.
Isn't that a beauty? Look at that, look at it. Ah, the PEYTON Mills. Huh? I never worked there a day in my life, and yet it's hovered over me like some kind of an albatross.
What do you mean?
Oh, small-town power. Someday you'll understand. When I was a kid...
I know. You told yourself that one day you'd have a car as big and shiny as Martin Peyton.
No.
You didn't?
No.
That's what I told myself when I was a kid. I thought everybody did.
Maybe in your generation, but not in mine. Did you ever hear of the WPA or bread lines or the CCC?
Sure, there were a couple paragraphs about it in my high school history book.
A couple of paragraphs. And it took me and my family and all of my friends 4 or 5 years to live through that, and they put it in a couple of paragraphs.
There's a mural in the post office that says WPA on it. I know, that was all during the Depression. I know that. What?
You're beautiful. Come on, let's get in. See how it feels to you, huh?
Oh, no, I don't think we should.
Oh, it's okay, it's okay. Well, isn't this something? Look at that one. Look at all those instruments. It's okay. I'm the new, chauffeur. I'm an old hand at trespassing on Mr. Peyton's property, a real old hand. One Sunday, my buddy Frank and me, we stole, it must have been 50 pounds of apples out of the orchard at the back of his place. And they were sweet as sugar.
You didn't get caught?
The young Eddie Jacks never got caught. It was Eddie Jacks, the grown man, the smart man, who got caught most of the time. No, I never dreamed of having a house like Mr. Peyton's. When I was a kid your age, about all I wished for was a plate with a lot of food on it, and a room of my own, a new pair of shoes, and things like that. And I got my wish.
The gang of kids I ran around with used to raid poor Mr. Peyton's house at least once a month.
You must have been running around with a nice bunch of kids.
Well, you know, I don't think I ever told Norm about that story.
Didn't your mother ever try to keep you away from kids like that?
She must have tried.
She was tied at the tavern at night.
Yeah, but I don't blame her.
Honey, you can make that dream come true.
What dream?
Having a house like Mr. Peyton's and all the things that go with it.
Don't try and force me into someplace where I don't belong.
Who says you don't belong?
I do.
But just a minute ago, you were telling me about your dreams.
Oh, sure, I dreamed about big houses and big cars, but that doesn't have anything to do with it. I don't belong up on that hill.
But you're good enough, don't you understand? You're better than a whole bunch of them put together.
Let's go. I think I want to go.
Rita.
Look, Norman doesn't want to have anything to do with his grandfather's house, money, or anything.
Well, he's entitled to his opinions, and I'm entitled to mine.
Oh, don't make a big thing out of this. We're very happy.
And pregnant. Not to mention some problem with your heart. And he's gainfully employed, as they say, as a laborer at the mill. Honey, I've got nothing to give you. Nothing. But I can't stand by like a fool and pretend I don't know things that I know.
Please, I don't want to hear any more.
I'd beat up anybody who dared to say that you weren't good enough to live up there on that hill, or live the kind of a life that even part of the Peyton money could buy. I'll never stop feeling that way, Rita. And I'll never apologize for feeling that way to anybody.
Look, Norm just won't
But
accept...
he didn't do you any favors by marrying you, don't you understand? There's no reason for you two to be playing house down there in the way you are, just because he got it in his head to be a rebel. Oh, it's a kick to be a rebel when you're single. But when you're married...
Look, I don't want to hear anymore. I want to go.
Experience in father-daughter talks. But I care for you so much. You know I'll get better at it. I'm very, very sorry.
Okay.